Hey, we're constantly hearing talk about incoming politicians, about doing things differently in Washington, and the new class of Congress is no exception. But former U.S. Senator John Sununu says despite this talk, there are only actually two ways of actually getting things done in Congress. And that very former senator joins us right now. Senator, welcome back to the show. And
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Same to you. You point out two ways to get things done, the drive and the deal. Can you define them?
Sure. Well, this is how you get something big done. I mean, small pieces of legislation are done every day through the normal process. But something complex, tax reform, you were talking about it earlier, welfare reform, which was done back in '96, and even the recent health care bill, big pieces of legislation only get done two ways. One is a drive, I call it. If the leaders and the committee chairs in both the House and the Senate say this is our top priority, and we are going to fight until this is done, passed, and on the president's desk. That's how welfare reform got done in 1996, and much more recently, that's how health care reform got done in 2010. Now, it doesn't mean that I agree with the legislation that comes out of this process, but it's a way to get something big and complex done. A deal, well, it sort of stands on its own, right? The president, the leaders of Congress get together on a topic, and they say, we're going to come to an agreement. You have the budget agreement back in 1997, first year I came into Congress. And again, much more recently, you had this tax agreement. Once they got honest negotiators in a room, they came to an agreement not just on the Bush tax cuts, but on death taxes, on capital gains taxes. Gotcha. It was a pretty complex deal.
And you're saying this is just flat out, that's the way of the land. But this is one thing that we'd like to add in as Americans, if you look at the polls. Can you possibly tell us how you're cutting this deal and what's involved? When you hear about the Nebraska kickback because someone reported it or found out about a clause that has yet to be written, that's what drives people crazy.
And it should drive people crazy. So two issues here. One is getting a deal negotiated, right? Coming into agreement. The other is transparency. It is important that once you come to an agreement, you put it out to the light of day. You let people know what you're voting on. And you be willing to defend what's in that agreement. Nebraska kickback, unacceptable. Ultimately, the popular revolt caused it to be pulled out, and it should have. So transparency is important. And just because there are people negotiating in private, quietly, thoughtfully, hopefully like adults, that doesn't make it wrong. What makes it wrong is if they try to hide what they've done after the fact.
But it doesn't mean you're not going to pay a political price. You know, harken back to John Sununu, your dad, when he was chief of staff, I believe, with President Bush 41, when he said, read my lips, no new taxes, then cut a deal, which he thought was better for the country, where taxes went up. Democrats hit him over the head with that. They didn't say, thanks for doing a deal. They said, now you're going to pay.
Well, that's exactly true. But look, it doesn't say that the public will support or reject what gets done. It doesn't say you don't have to defend what gets done. Of course you do. And the more above board, the more straightforward, the more honest you are about the ultimate process and the package, the better you're going to do politically. The Democrats got health care reform passed last year. They were determined to do it. They used a drive. They were successful. They paid a huge political price for it in November. But if you want to get something big and complex done, these are the only two ways. And ironically, a lot of members of Congress don't really understand how important that process can be.
We're going to have you back as these deals get done, because we understand in the current situation the drive's dead. John Sununu, thanks so much for defining it for us inside Washington. And have a great 2011. We'll talk to you soon.
Pleasure to be with you.